Hey, welcome everybody. We are going live to meditate with Metatron. Doesn't look like anybody is here, so I'm wondering, did I get something wrong? I hope not. I was going to ask if everybody here knows why we're doing this and what it's all about, but there's nobody here to answer my question. So let's see. Just going to pop over on a different screen and see if there's anything over there. No. Well, it looks like I'm in the right place. So maybe nobody wanted to do the live meditation, but I'm here and I'm going to do it. Before I do, I want to just preface it by explaining why this is happening, what it's all about, in case you don't already know, so that if you come along and see this after the fact, that you'll understand what this is all about. So in November, when I was preparing the December um, forecast. Hey, Pamela, I see you. Thanks for being here. Now I'm not alone. I feel so much better. Okay. So I'm just giving a brief overview of why we're here before we go into the meditation. So as I was preparing the December forecast, the end of November, I got this vision about an event that was going to happen. And, I get visions all the time. That's not a big deal. But this one was very specific, very detailed, and unlike the normal visions that I get. So, of course, that caught my attention. And what I got was horrifying because I was being shown an explosive event that was going to happen on Christmas Day in Southeast Florida at an Air Force base. And this event was going to impact a perimeter of about 200 miles, and there would be death involved. So I wrestled with that for a while because, like I said, I don't usually get that kind of vision. I didn't want to share that kind of vision. Who wants to tell anybody that kind of news? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I have to share it because what if it really happens? And I don't know, I could be totally wrong because it's new to me. And then while I was just wrestling with how to do it and where to do it, I was told not to do it. I can't remember now what I was going to do. I was going to talk about it in my newsletter, I guess. And I was told that not to do it on the Ask Your Guides, but to wait to do it with the metaphysical chat. So I did that. And in coded language, because we can't always say what we need to say here in this environment. In coded language, I explained that. And you can find that on the December metaphysical chat if you want to get all those details. But what came to me was I had asked a while back for an upgrade in my abilities. And they were reminding me, you asked for it, you got it, and now you've got to be responsible and follow through. So even if I'm totally wrong and I have egg all over my face later in the day on Christmas, that's okay because I couldn't take the chance in not sharing it in case it's true. And I really, really hope it's not. But if it is, it's going to be pretty devastating. Now, the good news is, as a group of light workers, those who got the message earlier have all joined together to send out love, light, and intention to mitigate as much as we can. Because in the original vision, I was told you can't stop it, you can mitigate it. So as of last week, we had brought it down from a 200-mile perimeter to a 60-mile perimeter, which is phenomenal. So many fewer people will be impacted. And they're saying to expect it before noon on Christmas Day. Hey, you guys, thanks you all for being here. I'm so glad to see you. Yeah, I don't feel quite so alone now. So this was really tough for me. And like I said, I'm doing the best that I can. So after I shared it, some people asked me, well, could we do some kind of a group effort? And what I came up with was what we're doing right now, and that is to meditate with Metatron. So I'm going to call Metatron in to channel a meditation for you. I have no idea what it's going to be. We're just going to all get it together and trusting that because we're here, because we are joining together in this collective and those who come along after and share their energy as well, that we will control this as much as we can to lessen the devastation because they've called it a catastrophe. So It was intended to be quite large, and we are doing our part by bringing it down, which we've already done and we're hopefully going to do more of. So that's probably, hey, Debbie, good to see you. Elena, thank you for being here, you guys. Felicity, Nidja, Eileen, Baka Baka, Jean, Kay, Letty, and Pamela. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you. I feel the love and support, and I really appreciate it. So I don't think this is going to take very long. And after I do the meditation, I'll hang out for a while. If you have questions, we can talk back and forth on chat. I do have a Zoom link after, we do the meditation. If anybody wants to come on Zoom and have more of a conversation than we can have here in chat. So that's also an option. So we're just flying by the seat of our pants here and we're going to see what happens. So I think we've given everybody enough time to join us if they're going to. Sit back in your chair, take a couple of deep breaths. Close your eyes and let's see what Metatron is going to share with us. So here we are, Metatron. We have assembled to receive the gift of this meditation that you're sharing with us tonight. With the intention that we will mitigate the catastrophe that you showed me. Calling upon all of the angels to join with us for maximum power, love, and light to be addressed to this situation. So I'm ready, Metatron, whenever you are. Lay it on us. Thank you all for being here. I honor and appreciate your dedication, your love, and your commitment to making your world a better place, to helping your fellow humanity. I understand this is frightening. I also want you to understand that being frightened doesn't help the situation. Now is the time to take hold of your angels' hands, to let them guide you through, so that you might stay calm, centered, and balanced as you all go through this experience together. For what you do here will have massive ripples in the pond. Your efforts will put a monkey wrench into plans that are far larger than they might appear with this simple event. Not so simple, actually, Metatron. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you. Keep going, please. From your angels to you, we send massive blasts of love and light to help you stay grounded, to help you stay on your sea legs as you face the days ahead. Know there will be challenges, but also know that we've got you every step of the way. You can do this. What you do matters more than you can even imagine. So there's this giant moon that I'm seeing hanging in the horizon now. And this is part of the vision that Metatron is giving me now. Giant, full, beautiful, milky white moon hanging in the sky. It's the Christmas Eve moon. Now, I know it won't technically be full. At least I don't think it will on Christmas Eve. Maybe it will. Anyway, that's what they're showing me. So this beautiful moon is watching over all of the earth with a particular eye towards those events in Southeast Florida. The moon herself is joining with us to send healing, love, light, and mitigating energy. Not sure what that means exactly, but it sounds good. So the moon is joining us in this effort, lending her strength, her power, lighting the way for events to shift from what they have been planned, causing this nefarious plan to go awry in a number of ways so that it won't be the giant catastrophe that was intended. But you're saying it's still going to go off. Yes, there still will be that event that will go off. It just won't be as bad as the original plan. So this will cause those involved in the plot to run scurrying because it will be easier for the authorities to find them and take action if the event is minimized. Oh, gosh, you guys, this is what's coming clear now. Because we're minimizing it rather than being this massive destructive force that puts everybody into a panic and allows them to escape unnoticed, because we have brought it down to something more manageable. The authorities will be able to follow up and to catch some of the perpetrators at least, and then do the larger investigation that will be throwing a larger monkey wrench into the plan. And I'm sorry if I'm being awkward here. It's coming through as I'm sharing it with you, so it's a little rough. Okay, what else, Metatron? So send your love to the beautiful moon on Christmas Eve. Take 2 to 5 minutes, commune with the moon, joining your intentions, because that's an important part of the plan to interrupt this catastrophe. And I'm not getting the details of why that's so important, so we'll have to go with trust that it is. So what else, Metatron? So we are reaching out, embracing, metaphorically, the moon, holding on. And as we all do that, she's going to feel all of our love and intention, which will energize and further empower what she's doing. So there's something bigger at play here with the moon, which again, I don't really understand. Maybe some of you guys are getting it and can clue me in when we speak later. So what else? So now I'm seeing you, all of us, as individuals, sitting on top of the moon. We are watching the events that are taking place with a slight smile on our face because we're witnessing how our efforts have made a difference. Because we believed, we stood in faith and trust, even though we might have felt silly doing it. And we followed through as our angels were guiding us to do. They are validating for us the importance of that. And this is, in addition to the event itself, this is also in some ways like a fire drill for us, so that we have come together, we've shown that we will take action when we're called, that it does matter, and it will embolden and encourage us for future events, because this isn't the only time we're going to be called in such a manner to step up. So as we do this, we witness that we have made this change. This will further encourage and embolden us to answer the call faster with fewer questions, just going on faith that what we've been called to do has impact and it does matter. What else? And now I'm seeing the moon is starting to set in the sky, making way for the sun to come up. And that would be Christmas morning. Hang with me, you guys. This is a little hard because I'm feeling resistance about seeing what they want to show me. So send me your energy to let that loose and flow through it. So the sun is starting to come up on the horizon, Christmas morning. And I am seeing that explosion. poof, smoke, people running around, fire alarms going off. But it's way smaller than I would have expected. It's almost like, when you do fireworks and one of them's a dud, it's just kind of a little poof rather than the big, huge show that it might have put on otherwise. So are you saying, Metatron, that's the validation? Yeah, okay. Now, so here's my big question then. Because it's being mitigated, will we hear about it on the news? Will there be any kind of a report so that we will have that validation, that fourth dimensional validation that something actually did happen? They're going to try and cover it up as much as they can, but they can't cover it all up. So we will be hearing something. That's what I'm getting. So the people who live in that town will be able to go on about their business and have their Christmas celebration without a massive interruption. That's what I'm getting. Although some are still going to know because the ones in the perimeter, they're certainly going to feel something. I feel it kind of like the earth shaking a little bit as this happens. Might even cause the ocean to have a bit of a reaction because it is right there on the coast. So that's also a possibility. So what else? Oh, so he's shifting gears now, and the vision is changing. Creator is here. Creator is holding you, me, all of us, individually, in their arms, comforting, soothing, loving. It's all about infusing us with more of creator love and certainty about who we are, what we're doing, our purpose here on earth right now, which is far grander than any of us have yet seen. There's so much more to come. And yes, we will be called on in situations somewhat like this in the future. So remember what you learned, remember the strength that you leaned on so that you can do it again anytime you're called upon. There's more to come. And now I'm seeing fireworks. So those are really fireworks? The celebratory fireworks? Yeah, and I'm seeing them out over the water. So what is that? Is that part of what they do normally in that area? They have that kind of a celebration? Something different. Were they meant to be the signal? I'm not sure, you guys. This is kind of fuzzy, but it's feeling like the fireworks out over the water was a signal for the perpetrators that the plan had gone off. So that's kind of confusing. So what else can you share with us, Metatron? Remember the feeling of being in the arms of your creator. Call that vision up anytime you find yourself wavering, feeling the fear, feeling the lack of confidence, questioning whether any of this is even true and whether you're making it all up or maybe you're a little bit crazy. Because honestly and truly, we all feel like that at times. Some of the things they share with us are just so fantastical that we question, am I making it up? Is this real? And yet, how many times, remind yourself of all of the times you have gotten something and then it's been validated. You've seen it happening. You've seen it manifesting in your life in various methods and manners. Remember that validation and remember this is purposeful. We are all moving towards something far greater than we can even imagine. This is just one step on that journey, an important step to be sure, because it is, in a way, a test. And not a test in that they don't think we have it in us or that they have doubt in us, but it's a test for ourselves to develop our confidence that we showed up, we did what we were asked, and the results were worth the effort. That's what it's about. Oh, and with that, Metatron is reaching out his arms and calling you into a massive bear hug embrace, giving you all of that love, letting you know that he is available to you right in this moment, in every single moment. Don't hesitate to call on him personally if that would bring you comfort. Or call upon any of the other archangels or enlightened beings, masters and teachers that you feel connected to. It doesn't matter because they're all one. They're all working together at a common purpose with us. We're all in this common purpose together. And now he's stretching out his arms with all of the angels. They're gathering all of us up into this big circle. Just pouring this glorious, sparkling, golden white light of love that tingles when it touches our skin. We're immersed in all of that love, that light, to bolster our confidence, to reassure. To make certain that you know you are so incredibly loved and you are so perfect right now. Love yourself, please. Let go of the recriminations, self-judgment. Just love yourself. Be your amazing, dynamic soul self and share that with the world. And that is more than enough. That alone can change destiny. It can change nefarious plans. It can bring love and light to coat any dark situation, to lighten it up, to shift it, even if it's a subtle shift, because every little shift counts. And together we can do that. Individually and as a group, we have been empowered by Creator to stand up now, to make a formidable wall against those who would disrupt our beautiful world, who would spread hate and disaster, fomenting chaos. We have more than enough power to block them. And that wall that we form is an absorbent wall. I'm seeing all of the efforts that they're putting out, hitting that wall. And it doesn't bounce off. It gets absorbed and nullified. It's like magic or some kind of superpower that wall that we have created with our love and our intention has the power to defuse whatever the efforts that they are putting forth. And with that, feel your heart chakra expanding and filling up with Creator love. There's greens, there's reds, there's pinks. It's all twinkling in your heart chakra as you're absorbing this understanding, plus all of the love and intention, as it fills up your entire body and flows out of your crown chakra. Oh, this sparkling golden liquid pouring out of your crown chakra and streaming down your body. Very surreal experience. That's what happens when you transmute evil into love. Wow, thank you, Metatron. That is astonishing. What else do you want to share with us now? Gather together, hold one another close, share the love, the joy. Don't forget the joy. Lots of joy. Have a wonderful Christmas. Don't let the worry get the best of you. put it aside and know in the depths of your being that you have done everything that you can and that what was asked of you. You are loved, and we are pleased that you stood with us in this hour of need for the planet and for the people. Love and thanks to you. Much gratitude. Okay, and with that, Metatron is moving on. Wow, I feel a little lightheaded. I don't know how you guys are feeling. Okay, that was intense. So let me just scan down the comments here. Do you have questions? Does anyone want to come on to Zoom to discuss? Christine, it's Homestead, southeast corner of Florida. You are so welcome, Sister of Six. Hey, Susan, glad you could be here. Full moon is the 26th, so it'll be close to full moon then. Okay, good enough, I think. Twin Mom, you're so welcome. Janny, glad you could be here. Hey, Beth, glad you could join us. I'm still feeling that kind of buzzy, little off-kilter feeling. I don't know what you guys are feeling. Do you have any questions that you want to ask either in chat, or let me just give you the link for the Zoom if you want to pop into Zoom with me. Like I said, that's perfectly fine. Now I have to find it. I think that's it. Yes, that's it. So if you want to jump on, you can, so that we can then talk back and forth without having to wait for the comments. Ninja, you feel tingling in your hands, and it was beautiful. Yeah, I feel it in my hands and definitely in the crown chakra and forehead, and yeah, it's wild. Janny, the top of your head feels wide open. Oh, that is so beautiful. Yeah. Hey, Laura, glad you could join us. You are welcome, Joe Rose. Letty, you've got tingling in the soles of your feet and in your stomach. Oh, yeah. Pamela Ann, you're filled with love. You are so welcome. No, I don't think we need to meet on Christmas Eve. The feeling they're giving me is that this is what we can do, what we have done, and it's enough. So part of what we're moving forward with is the trust that what we did was enough and letting that go in faith. And I see Eileen's popped on to join me over on Zoom. Let me just bring that forward so I can see her. Hey there.
Hey there.
Annie came on. Awesome. Joe is here. Yeah, you guys. So anybody who wants to come on and just talk a little bit, please feel free to do that.
Well, one of the things I can say is when you said you could feel the energy through the crown chakra, I could actually my head tingled every time I breathed in. That there was just such a tingle going on in my head and above my head. It was just amazing.
That's awesome. Because there were times where I was feeling like, is that all you got? So I'm really glad that it was impactful for you. That's wonderful to hear.
Yep. And my hands, of course, were heating up like anything.
Yeah. Just close a couple windows here so I can see you guys. So if you're on Zoom, jump in and join the conversation, you guys. And I'll still keep monitoring the comments on the YouTube side in case there are people who are a little shy and don't want to come on. And you don't have to turn your camera on Zoom for this, you guys. It's different from the Ask Your Guides. So if you just want to be here and hang out and speak, that's perfect.
This is Janny.
Hey, Janny.
I just felt this, like I had done Reiki symbols on my hands, and like you, Eileen, my hands are just like on fire, kind of almost. And then towards the end, when we were receiving that love from Creator and having it go out through our crown chakra, my crown chakra just felt wide open. So it was just an amazing experience. And it's a relief to know that we can do something to make a difference, to make things better for the world. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
So glad you were here. And isn't that amazing that we can? And we always could, but we just didn't know it. And so that feels like a big part of what we're learning as we move forward, just how powerful we are. Because we're going to need to know that when the more of this stuff comes in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the things I always do when I put a comment in, and the first thing I put in usually is love and positive white light to everyone, because I know sending out that positive, and sometimes I'll even add the word positive and calming white light, depending upon what I'm feeling. I find just reading that, people may take a breath and take a moment just to center themselves. And that alone helps. So you're not putting out that anxiety into the world.
And as you said that, what hit me, it's more than that. It's also role modeling for others what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
One of the things I always tell people as they're leaving, I wish you an uneventful day. And then if they come back smiling and says, okay, start with 15 minutes and go from there. And if I've left them with a smile, that's one more person who is smiling and not frowning.
Yeah.
And if they can then make one person smile and so on, that brings up the energy just that little bit more. And it doesn't take a lot of energy from me just to wish them an uneventful day or first 15 minutes, and I know it just gives them that moment of, oh yeah, that uneventful would be good.
Awesome. Anybody else want to share something?
Hey there.
Hey.
I just wanted to say that Spirit had told me a couple days ago that the people behind this were going to be exposed. So,
Right.
Deborah,
they wouldn't say who they were, but they did say they were going to be exposed.
Just a minute, Pamela.
Yeah.
And when you kept bringing up the moon, one of the things that I kept hearing, because it's one of the things I do a lot with my meditations with the moon, is if you actually tap into the energy of the goddess Diana, because she is the goddess of the moon, and her daughter Nokomis is the daughter of the moon. So if you tap in to those two energies while you're talking to the moon and connecting with the moon, it'll be a lot more powerful and you'll be more anchored in with the energy.
Oh, cool. So I don't know anything about the moon. That was a surprise to me. It's like, why the moon? But there's obviously more to it.
She's very powerful, and you have to remember the grandmother moon watches over everything that happens on this planet.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was thinking.
Oh, sorry, Jenny.
No, it's okay. When you said you weren't sure why the moon was in that, I was thinking that mother figure,
Deborah,
that the moon can represent sometimes.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, Pamela, go ahead.
There are 2 or 3 voices at the same time, so it's difficult to. Okay.
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. Oh, it's okay.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Nobody else is talking now.
Okay. I just wanted to tell you that. But the thing that I loved, it was this feeling of oneness with all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's delayed a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, that was wonderful. I loved that too. Anything else?
Yeah. The palms of my hand, my eyes were closed. I felt like somebody was holding my hand. I could feel it was definite connection. Whether it was one of us or Metatron, or it was amazing. Very powerful love feeling. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Metatron. It was really wonderful.
Yes, and thank you, Metatron. Yeah. Nope, I'm done.
Okay. Did you want to say anything, Beth?
Sorry that I missed the beginning. It sounds like it was really powerful. Just was, I guess, with the thing in Florida, um, is there any idea of what that event might be?
Yeah, I explained that at the beginning. It's a boom
Mm-hmm.
at a base. And because there are other things there in the vicinity of where they have set it, there's a chain reaction that they're planning. So what we've been doing with our efforts is bringing that down. So originally I was told it was a 200-mile perimeter. Imagine that.
Wow.
Devastation on Christmas Day, which is why
Yeah.
they did it for Christmas Day. We have brought it down to 60-mile perimeter.
That's still huge in that area.
It is, but way less. So we have mitigated it and we'll continue sending that rippling energy, doing as much as we can. We can't stop it, but we can mess with it and bring the impact down. That's what we're working on.
And what do we need to do to be able to cohesively bring that perimeter down?
We'll go back and listen to the whole meditation. You can do the meditation.
Mm.
And then whenever you feel led over the next days, just Mentron said like 2 to 5 minutes, just stop. Send that love and that energy along with your intention that the perpetrators are not successful.
Okay.
You know,
Thanks.
whatever you feel led to send, just love is
Gotcha. Thank you.
because their plan was by doing it and affecting that large of an area on Christmas Day, because it's a sacred holiday, because so many families will be together, it would create this massive chaos, which wouldn't just affect Florida, because it would impact lines of traffic and things being shipped and all sorts of things. It would be a disruptor. And morale-wise, having something like that on our ground, and the number they told me of casualties in the beginning was huge. I don't even want to say the number. It was so huge. That's coming down. So it would have been with the numbers of casualties larger, much larger than 9/11. And you know how the country reacted to that. It's like we were all stunned and stopped. And it took a while for us to get our equilibrium back. So this would have been on that larger level, allowing the outside forces who want to interrupt our democracy to come in.
I love your lights, by the way.
Oh, thank you. That's a background. It's not my lights.
Oh, that's too funny.
I don't do decorations anymore. It's no time for that, but yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Any other comments? Debbie, you're feeling peace, calm, and relaxed. I'm so glad. Yes, it's less than 60 miles now, Debbie. Absolutely, which is massive. So here's a little clue I will send to you. When I asked for the number of people who would be impacted, this was back in November when I got the vision, they gave me this number that was 5 figures. And then a couple days later, it hit me, you know what? Let's go check the population of that area, that town. The population of that town is just a little bit more than the number they gave me. So 5 figures. So now bringing it down to 60 miles instead of 200, that's got to bring those numbers down massively. So it's going to be more like a dud of a firework. It's still going to have an impact, but it's going to be more like a dud firework rather than what they had envisioned. And again, we could get to Christmas Day and nothing happens at all. We're going on faith with this. But just because it could be true, we've got to follow through. So in some ways, this is kind of like a fire drill, because there will be more opportunities in the future for us to need to do this same kind of thing. But they don't play games. So I don't think that it's something fake just to test us. They don't do that. But again, this is all new to me because I've not had this kind of vision before. So we will just move forward in faith and trust that we've done all that we can, and then pick up the pieces, whatever's needed afterwards. So it looks like they're pretty quiet over on the YouTube side. Letty, you keep hearing the song, All You Need Is Love. Yeah, keep singing it. It's absolutely. And of course, what the world needs now is love. Get that a lot. Arlene, hey, you just joined and missed it. That's okay. It's there on the replay. You can grab it. So I guess we'll wind it up unless anybody has something else they want to add.
When you said it was 60 miles, do you realize Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Coral Springs are all within that 60-mile radius?
I was thinking exactly that.
Yeah.
Hollywood, Florida, all of that. Fort Lauderdale is all within that 60-mile radius.
And the Keys as well, right?
Some of the Keys, yeah.
Here's the really wacky thing about this. When it first came, I didn't tell anybody because I had to take some days myself just to absorb it. It's like, you feel like you're going crazy when you get something like that. So then I finally shared it with one of my oldest friends. We've been friends for over 40 years. And I called her up and I said, I have to tell you this because I've got to tell somebody. And she informed me after I told her where and the radius, her daughter was planning to be in Florida for Christmas. And that to me was like, oh my God, that's validation, because she's the only one I felt I could share it with, and it would have impacted her. So she needed to know. Maybe that's reaching, I don't know, but it felt to me like that was a validation. And my husband doesn't even believe it, but you laugh.
Deborah, think about it this way. David is a cynic.
Yeah, he's also an atheist, so he has a hard time with a lot of this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know there are people who probably think I'm nuts. And, I've had a few other psychics who contacted me and said, yes, they were getting something along those lines. And then I had somebody else contact me and say, no, it's all going to be fine. But the other thing that happens as psychics when we get this stuff is it goes through our filter. So sometimes we just don't want to believe that's real. So it's easy to say no and not pick up on all the signs we're getting. So I think that's sometimes when they get it wrong, that's where it comes from. It was just too outrageous for them to be able to believe. Like I remember in 2016, some of the psychics I followed were saying, oh no, Hillary's got it. And then staying up until 4 a.m. because we just could not believe the results and feeling so devastated. How could they have all gotten that wrong? And over time, I've understood it's because in their reality, they could not accept that would be possible. So they didn't get the right answer. They probably didn't ask the question correctly, because it's not who would win, it's who would be seated. That was one of those trick questions kinds of things, because the one who won didn't get it. And so if you ask who would win, you would have gotten the wrong answer. So there's a lot of situations that come into play with those kind of predictions that can cause it to be wrong. But as I explained at the beginning, if there's even a chance this is going to happen, I have to share it because I don't want to be that person afterwards in a disaster who says, I really blew it. I didn't tell anybody and I should have.
Well, the one thing you have to remember is no matter who you are, you will look at anything and everything through your own history. And that's going to affect how you perceive things, how
Yeah.
any of us perceive things. So our history, we now look and back and see 9/11 and COVID, but 30 years ago, if someone had said 9/11 would happen and COVID would happen, it was not in our realm of possibility, so we could not imagine it.
Yeah. Well, it was 2017 when Metatron shared the cosmic wave of transformation vision. And I now see in hindsight, he was talking about the pandemic. But it never would have occurred to me that's what he was talking about. But it fits the description of what happened. So yeah, sometimes it's just too big to wrap our minds around.
Yeah. Our history and our experience doesn't, and because right now, I mean, there's no one alive that went through the Spanish flu. So we had nothing, no person to give us that viewpoint.
Yeah, Christine's just asking a question here. Can you tap into the reason? Yeah, Christine, if you listen to the December metaphysical chat, it's a live video on my channel. I shared in more detail on that video about what it was. So just briefly, the reason is that the guy in the West whose name starts with a P and the sore loser in this country have been working on this plot since January 6th failed. They're not done trying to take over the country. So the devastation that would be caused by this event in Florida would move us towards that. So it's all about the plot to take over the country. And it's connected to the battles, the wars that are breaking out all over the world. Those are not coincidental. That's all part of the bigger plan. And I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory. But, you know, one of the things about being psychic is you see these things and you see the connections. It's hard sometimes because you can see it and other people just don't get it. But it's like, it's so black and white obvious when you're connected like this. They will show you those things. And sometimes you can't do anything about it. In this case, there was something we could do about it. And so that's why we're here tonight. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, Letty, crazy things are happening all over the world for sure.
But if you think of it, there's so many of the patriarchal elders who are so afraid of how things had changed that a lot of them and a lot of things that have stayed hidden are now starting to be seen, and people are starting to fight against those things, that wars are more likely to come out because they're trying to protect what they perceived is the right thing in their mind or what they want it to be. And that's happening all over the world. You have the extremists who no, we don't want it to change or we want it to go back. And those things have now come out into the light, that it's no longer hidden, that ugliness and that dark presence is no longer hidden. And I think that's the one thing that Trump did, was he gave people permission to bring that into so that everybody could see it.
Yeah.
And now that it's being seen, more people are starting to fight it. And those that are so afraid of losing their power are now creating more wars to try to hold on to that power.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Letty.
It's fomenting hate.
Yeah.
Because that's how their side can win, which
Yeah.
is why we're going to beat them every time with love. So we just have to stay on our path, remember who we are and what we came here to do, and we will prevail. We've been promised.
And stay calm, not add more anxiety to the growing amount of anxiety out there, just to push out calmness and positivity out.
Yes. Elena, do you want to say anything about the impressions you've gotten? I mean, you don't have to, but if you feel comfortable. There you are.
I didn't want to unmute. She's got something to say. What
What wisdom does she want to share?
she, the one thing I did notice, as soon as you started the meditation, Bearheart immediately crawled into my arms because he wanted to listen and to put his energy in. And then little Miss Critter here came in at, well, as she goes across again.
It's all about me, Ma.
Like I said, she's got something to say about everything, I'm telling you. But it's just like I said earlier, the people behind this will be caught. None of them are going to get away with it. Which I think is interesting because it's that you can tell where their brains are at. They're still in that very masculine dominated energy and have not come. And that's one of the reasons, again, why the moon is so important, because you really need to bring in that grandmother energy, which we all are. And when you work with the net of light, which is what the grandmothers do, and we're all native in all different countries around the world. But when you work with that net of light and you anchor your light into that net, you can, it's kind of hard to describe, but when I visualize the net, it it looks like a hair net.
Mhm.
Because you have, but they're all little lights from everybody that's putting all the light workers that put their energy into the field. And you can actually focus specifically on that in the net on a particular area. So like what I've been doing for the last month or so, with all the rest of the areas of the world that need help, I focus that one pinprick. You know, it looks like a pinprick, but it's a lot of light when you're dealing with a whole bunch of grandmothers putting their energy together to stop something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's so important to include the moon energy, because she is the grandmother of all of us. And our energy is very, what's the word? Simpatico. I mean, we're all, so that's why when you call on the goddess Diana and you call on her, the daughter of the moon, which is Nokomis, you tap into that energy. And with her light, especially since she's coming into a full moon, she's going to be at her most powerful, because the energy of the moon, it's 3 days before the moon happens, the day of the moon, and 3 days after the moon. And with a full moon, the full moons are all about releasing things that nobody, whether it's on an individual basis or a collective basis, we don't need it anymore. So the full moons are all about releasing those things that no longer serve humanity. So that's why I think it's also very interesting that Christmas comes within that time frame of the moon. And so she's stepping up and she's saying, hey, I'm doing my part. You guys need to tap into the energy with me. And it's going to make it even stronger. And when you're dealing with feminine energy, which is what we are in the age of Aquarius, which is the feminine energy, the masculine energy has to bow down. It's time for it to go. Because literally we are basically taken every 26,000 years, we shift. And now it's time for the feminine energy to be back on the planet, which is all about love, gratitude, joy, forgiveness, and healing. What's happened in this instance, as with a lot of other times when the shift has happened, the masculine energy, because it's so ego dominated, it doesn't want to let go. So we're going to help it.
Slap it upside the head and tell it to get real.
Well, I was thinking a big boot up the you know what, but
Yeah. Time to let the ladies come in and clean up the mess you made.
And that's basically what we always do whenever the shift every 26,000 years, the women have to come in and clean up the mess that the men have made. It's just the way it is on this planet for some silly reason.
Yeah.
But the animals are involved, and it doesn't matter, because there's a lot of men that have very masculine or very feminine energy. And they're just more tuned in to that more so than the masculine energy.
Mhm.
So we do have a lot of men on this planet that are tapped into the feminine energy that are also helping. So it's not just the women. It's, we do have a lot of masculine energy that is tapped into the feminine that is helping with this also.
Yeah. Thank goodness we need all the help we can get.
Yes, we do.
Janny said over on the YouTube side that she loves the grandmother energy. When she sends out love light, she imagines it's the members of the Metatron meditation group holding hands together and sending it. And it was good to really be together tonight. Yeah. Thank you, Janny. That's why it was important to do this before Christmas, to give ourselves a chance to really ramp up that energy between now and then. So, yeah. Well, I don't have anything else. Anybody else? Last thoughts or comments?
Just sending that positive and calming white light to everyone, and keep that in our mind and keep sending it out. If we have a moment throughout the day, just to send that brief moment out, that thought out. And if we all do it, it's going to start adding up.
Yeah. Thank you. Makes a big difference. And received. Okay, you guys, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. And we'll catch up after Christmas. Well, hopefully with celebration that it wasn't such a big deal.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Deborah.
Happy